Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Motivation Monday, May 8th, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest today is featured on Peacock's Bel-Air. He's also been on shows such as Game Shakers and NCIS, and I'm super honored and excited to have him here in the Dollhouse. He is 6'6", he is an athlete, he is an actor, he is an artist, he is a father, all the hyphenates. I'm super excited to have him here in the Dollhouse with us today, ladies and gentlemen. And as you guys can see, I am hot girl summer ready. I got the abs out for y'all. I'm feeling great, and I hope you guys are feeling great as well too. Skin is on fleek. Please be mindful what you say and do because this live will be moderated. So let me go ahead and share this live with Sheldon so that we can get him in here, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are all doing wonderful and had an amazing weekend. I had an amazing weekend, and I hope you guys do too. If you hear something in the background, that is my fan because it is hot. It is like, what is the temp outside today? The temp outside today is 79. It is almost 80 degrees. So definitely make sure you guys are staying cool. That is a priority. Our very special guest today has been featured on shows such as Bel-Air, which is on Peacock, and you guys can check it out. They just wrapped season 2. You can also catch him on NCIS and Nickelodeon's Game Shakers. I'm super excited to have him here in the Dollhouse with us, ladies and gentlemen. So before we kick off our interview, and we're waiting on our guests to get here, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this. Mental health check-in. How am I doing? Because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I am doing great, and I hope you guys are feeling great as well, too. Making sure that you guys are taking care of yourself. Self-care is a must. Please go and check out my stories for the scent routine of the day. And without further ado, let's welcome our incredibly talented special guest, an athlete. He is a father. He is an artist. He is an actor. He does it all. Ladies and gentlemen, Sheldon Bailey.
Ah,
Hello.
let me get my setup right. All right, I think I'm
Take
good
your
now.
time. We got you. We see you.
Cool.
Give it a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, he is here, the man of the hour, ladies and gentlemen. Big Shell Bailey,
Hi.
artist, actor, athlete, father. You have so many hyphenates in your career, but before we get this interview started, how has 2023 been for you thus far? Because I know it's been hectic, a lot going on, overcoming the pandemic, and now we've got some normalcy. Everybody's back on set. So how has everything been for you so far?
Things have been good. We did weather the storm through the pandemic, through various efforts. But it does feel good to get back to, some normalcy. I do appreciate that. But then also, like, some things have changed in our business too. Like, the audition process is different. So, like, I do appreciate the fact that, like, now we do, like, self-tapes instead of having, like, drive around the city, and do that. You know what I mean? So it was like, we had to pivot and make certain adjustments. But we have been able to, and, I'm still here doing my thing.
Yes. So let's start from the beginning. You grew up a bit of an army brat, Germany, Texas, North Carolina, and you played professional basketball in China, Taiwan, and Ecuador.
I did.
So where do you want to start?
I mean,
Because that's a lot.
I usually start, I guess, with Germany because I do feel like being a black male that, it is a bit unique or rare, an American black male to be born in Germany, you know what I'm saying? So I think that is something that's unique about me. But all those different places influence me, in various ways and were crucial and pivotal to my upbringing and who I am today as a person. But I probably
Yes.
feel the most connected to North Carolina. But then also, like, my mother is a Jamaican immigrant, we have family all over the world, and Miami and New York and London. My mother and my grandmother, they live in San Antonio, Texas. And San Antonio, Texas is actually the first place I moved to the United States whenever I left Germany as a little boy.
So, with you growing up as a bit of an army brat, what was it like traveling from place to place to place? And when did you get that urge to say, okay, this is something that I want to do?
Well, traveling always was a big part of my life, and it was always a big part of my life for my parents too, because my parents, they had the desire and the love and the passion for traveling. It's like I said, like my mother is Jamaican immigrant, and so my mom had lived in London and in Panama before she even had moved, Jamaica, London, and Panama before she even moved to the United States. So I feel like naturally I inherited this love for travel.
Okay, okay. And you started playing professional basketball in China, Taiwan, and Ecuador. And then, of
Yeah.
course, you started your career in the acting business. Where did you get the acting bug at?
Um. Well, I always had the love for both. I always had the love for basketball and for entertainment. My father was really like influential and like inspiring me to be like a great basketball player, but also a very well-rounded person. So he was real crucial in me playing ball, and I played ball pretty much because of my dad. But at the same time, like my dad didn't want me to just be a hooper. My father experienced a horrific knee injury at a young age. I actually wound up having. I experienced the same knee injury at the age of 16 too. But also one thing that helped me get through that mentally was the fact that I was actually a good student. I had a passion for acting and entertainment and other things to fall back on. So those other things really helped me get through that dark time. And I do believe, I mean, I always loved acting, but around that time, like in the 10th, 11th grade, whenever I messed up my knee, it is a time where I did even start focusing on acting even more because I had time off of the court. And so I had a really good theater teacher in high school, and he like really poured himself, into me, and like he saw the desire and the love and the passion I had. He never really had a student that looked quite like me, with my size and my stature, my complexion. And so he took it as a bit of a challenge and helped me get going.
Now, you've doubled for some of basketball's greats, Shaquille O'Neal,
Yep.
LeBron James, and Dwight Howard.
Yep.
So tell us, what was that experience like being able to double for these basketball icons?
All of those guys are amazing. And for somebody like me who didn't make it all the way to the NBA, I do find that it like helps validate me and my basketball playing ability a bit, that I could even portray somebody as great as Dwight Howard or somebody as great as LeBron James. LeBron James is considered by many people the GOAT, the greatest basketball player of all time. And so the fact that I even fooled the public, physically, basketball skill wise, as LeBron James for like 11 years, Like to me, that is a little bit of a basketball badge, of honor that I wear.
Now, let's get to the acting because you passed the doubling now. Now you're into acting because I see it in the comments. We know you as Ruthless on Game Shakers
Yeah.
and Big Brain on Peacock's Bel-Air. And you went on to have a reoccurring role on shows such as Shameless and NCIS. Now, out of all of your careers, because you have an extensive catalog, we be here all day. I'm going through it. Out of all of the shows and things that you've done, which one resonates with you the most?
I really, I really do love the fanfare that came from Game Shakers and Nickelodeon. Um, I do have a long history and a passion for helping and working with young people and kids. And so that gave me like the biggest platform of my life at the time, in order to be in that space and to be influential amongst young people, and even to see like those kids that kind of like grew up with me, they're adults now, but they remember me as Ruthless, and they like always like love me for that. Like I really do appreciate that. And that was the first time I got a long term contract as an actor as well. So it also has sentimental values. And then I think sometimes like people kind of underestimate the widespread like fanfare and like well how huge Nickelodeon actually is like globally, but it's huge. You know what I mean? I did some other critically acclaimed shows, adult shows, but the millions and millions of young people that have watched Game Shakers around the world is like incredible. And you know, I remember, I mean, even now, like when I go live, like it'd be Game Shakers fans on here from all around the world, from Brazil, Ireland, like literally, like I believe Game Shakers probably showed in like almost every country in the world, and it still airs to this day. So I got a lot of love for that one. And also, like as a kid in North Carolina and Texas, I always had dreamed of being on Nickelodeon as a little kid. So, but then like as an adult, it was like kind of like a second childhood a little bit because the little version of me remembers wanting to be on Nickelodeon. You know what I mean? I still ain't got slimed yet. I still want to get slimed, low key. But yeah, so that was just like a lot of fun, and I think it's also something like for young people to to aspire to. And sometimes like things don't necessarily always work out the way you planned it or exactly when and how you wanted it to, but if you be staying positive and working hard, they usually have they usually come back around the proper way, the right way.
Now, in middle school, one thing people don't know about you is in middle school, you discovered theater and drama class, and you discovered it at a very young age. So, being able to balance that, having that passion, what are some skills you've learned during your time in middle school in theater and drama class that have helped
Well,
your career and shaped you into the
well,
amazing actor you are?
my aunt Angie is on here, right? And she tagging everybody and their mama on here. So now my aunt was one of those people. Whenever I was a kid, I used to do things at church, right? You know, like you would have like we had children's church number one, and so children's church you always had to like say a Bible verse or like what I mean. But like my family was not cool with me saying basic Bible verses, right? So I always had to get like some deep Bible verse or whatever. But I had to learn how to memorize. I had to memorize them. Like my aunt wouldn't let me take a paper up there. Like so, I would work on this Bible verse, whatever, some deep Bible verse, like all week, right? And I had to go up there, and I better not mess up neither. You know what I'm saying? So that was like one of my early years of like the memories of like having to memorize and perform. And then so they would do the same thing. They would do things for like Black History Month. And so they would always give me a character. And I always wanted like a good character. And my family always pressed for me to have like somebody like deep and involved. You know what I mean? Like Malcolm X or like somebody like really crucial and important. And so I used to take pride in that. And I would work on my scene with my aunt. And then she would put me in, you know what I mean? And then I would go out there and I would do it at church. And then also I used to do variety shows for my family. Like I was like in third grade. Like in third grade, I knew I wanted to be an actor, period. And it started with me trying to stay up past my bedtime. Um, but it worked though because I was able to entertain the family and like I used to do these skits. I would go to my room, I would have a costume change, I would hurry back out, and I would perform for the family. You know what I'm saying? And then I learned how to like pull laughs, hold for laughs, things like that. And then I would like, all right, so whenever I felt like that joke was done, like I would run back to the room and like change up and think of another skit. And I just used to do these skits and like, yeah, so that was like, I was like 9 years old doing that stuff.
You graduated from Winthrop University on a college basketball
I
scholarship,
did.
and you also eventually graduated with thespian honors. So what was that? Wait a minute.
Okay,
You got so
let
much
me
knowledge
explain
before you
that.
comment
Let me
on
explain
you
that.
guys.
Let me explain that. So, in high school, I graduated with thespian honors. And then
Yes.
in college, I didn't pursue acting necessarily in college. I did spoken word poetry in college, but I didn't take like classes for drama or anything like that. I was focused on
Oh,
my college basketball career and these other things. I went to Winthrop for 2 years, but then I transferred to Florida International University in Miami, and I went there for 2 years, and that's where I graduated, right? And I graduated with a political science degree. But one thing about when I left Winthrop, I wanted to go to I wanted to go to a major city. So my deal was either go to New York, Philly, or Miami. You know what I'm saying? Weather way better in Miami, and my mom was down in Miami, so I went to school down there. But also with the intent that when I was done playing college basketball, or even while I was in school, I was going to model, act, and get my career started down there in Miami. And that's exactly what I did and what happened. As soon as basketball season was open for me that senior year, I found an agent and I started a talent agent and I started doing commercials and I started doing commercials and modeling and stuff like that down there.
and you served as the Black Student Union
Yeah,
president.
yeah. I just reconnected with the university recently after like a long hiatus, but I took a couple trips to Miami and I've been dealing with one of the liaisons there to get me on campus to do some more things with the theater department and like the communications department. And it was that, you know what? Those 2 years in Miami at FIU were very influential in my life. They were like super crucial and I've gone off to be successful, but I would like to reconnect and provide, some of my expertise to, the future, generations of professionals and entertainers that come out of that university. Because I got a lot of love for that school, for sure. And but being the Black Student Union president, I never really had aspired to do that, but I was an involved member. And then one day, like a vote came up, and everybody was like, well, Sheldon would be a good vice president. And I was like, sure. And then from there, they liked me a lot, and our president wound up graduating. And so I slid right there to that presidential spot. And I led the BSU for like the last semester of my um, the last semester of school down there. But also, we talked about reconnecting with them too. There's apparently they have like a big Juneteenth celebration, and I'm completely in support of us growing our Juneteenth celebrations across the country. Somebody was making a joke the other day that like black people celebrate Cinco de Mayo like way harder than like Mexicans do, or how way harder than we celebrate Juneteenth. So I would like to get Juneteenth more like a Cinco de Mayo level. You feel me?
Okay, let's do it. All right, let me read some of these comments from you guys. Your aunt is tagging everybody in the comments right now. I want
I'm
to see. I
telling
want everybody to
you,
see, not
she
me.
on here.
And Kamani Batista says,
Kamani,
"Hi,
yeah,
Big
here, let
Sheldon,
me
Mr.
acknowledge this. Let
Kamani."
me acknowledge Kamani, because Kamani, hey, Kamani.
All of this
Angie,
love and
and
support.
Angie, if you still on here, ask a question. We live.
Yes, and since your aunt is here, let's talk family for a minute because you are a father of two beautiful babies. So tell us, balance, family. How do you find the balance? Because you are a man of, when I introduced you, I said you are a man of multi-happiness. You do it all. You're an athlete. You're an actor. You model. You do so many. You're an artist. You do so many things. So how do you find the balance for fatherhood?
Uh, well, I think it's importance, priorities, prioritizing is crucial. Prioritizing, you have to care. Number one, you know what I mean. You got to care about your kids. You got to care about your careers. And then I just been blessed with a nimble mind to be able to go in and out of situations and figure things out. But especially like for my son, because I was like really like a single dad to my son. I am a single dad to my son. He's 16 now, but ever since he was a little boy, I got custody him when he was about 3 years old. And at the time, I was probably about 25, 26. So I was still outside pretty good. But I had to figure out, this balance. But what happened was I wound up getting a nanny that was really important. But also I made enough money, you know what I mean, that I could get a nanny, but I don't think a lot of people probably at 25, 26 would have probably put themselves in that position to take care of a 3-year-old little kid. But I did, and I wanted to. And I knew I lived an extraordinary, unique life that I wanted him to be a part of more so. And, I chose to take some of my finances and my money, and instead of putting it towards, this or that, I went ahead and spent that money for a nanny. I figured out what my monthly budget was. All right, cool. Like, I can do that. And, I went and I found somebody that really could help me. And so, I was able to go out on dates, and things like that. But I really had somebody that, like, I trusted. But I was always, and somebody that maybe could pick them up after school if I was out, doing auditions all day, and fix them some food by the time I got home. So I did need help. But it was also like I did have the responsibility and I did have my priorities in order that, I was going to use this money to enhance our life and help me be the dad that I needed to be and that I could be for my son.
And I want to salute you as a Black man because there's not that many positive images of that out here. So hats off to you for doing that. And I'm pretty sure your aunt and your family, that's why I bought a family, because my family, my mom is my world. Mm-hmm. And you guys call me queen, but that's the real queen. This woman sacrificed, our moms sacrificed everything for us. Our family will put everything down on the line and sacrifice everything for us. So that's why I had to ask, because family is important. Your family is showing up. Your aunt is in the comments. So I'm pretty sure she's had a helping hand. Your mom. Yeah. Speaking of art, what is some of the best advice that your family has given you along the way, going on this journey to become this big actor?
Well, they always, and also like when there was like time for me to become a dad, like they all were very helpful. And they're like, Sheldon, like, you can send them out here if you need to. Or I would send them to my dad and my stepmom, and he would hang out with my cousin in the summer. I would send them for like a month. You know what I mean? So that would be like a break for me, but also that was an experience for him to go to Atlanta for a month and to be with his cousins and to be with his family and things like that. We do have a close-knit family. We look out for each other. You know what I mean? I got some real like aunts that are writers. My parents are amazing, and they're great. You asked me what was some of my memories. What was the question again?
I said, what is some advice that your aunt Angie or your mom and your dad
well, my aunt, work ethic was crucial. Attention to details, work ethic. So I was a really good student, but one of the reasons why I was a really good student is because my aunt made me study a lot, and specifically spelling tests. I don't know why this was so important to her and my father, but spelling tests were very crucial. And so, like as an early age, and I was a good speller, but it took practice and work. So if I didn't get my spelling test right, like it was repercussions, you know what I'm saying? Like my aunt, even whenever I would do practice tests at the crib, if I missed the word, she would make me go back and write it like 10 times. And then if I miss it again, like she would make me write it like 30 times. And I have memories of like my hand like going numb from writing spelling words that I missed. And this is all my aunt, just straight hardcore, just like, no, she wouldn't. And my parents supported it. So, like, it wasn't no missing. So I became an amazing speller at the time. I don't know if I'm any good at spelling as good now, but my aunt definitely made me write a lot of spelling words. And when those grades came back, everybody was on the horn. My grandma, my aunts, my mom, and my dad, they all had to see what that report card was hitting for. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't enough A's and B's on that thing, it was an issue. and like C's wasn't even acceptable. Like if it was a C, like I was probably gonna be on restriction to go through some drama. So it was A's and B's, and they really ain't like them B's all that much either.
Your aunt says but he has written some
I
books, and
did write a book. I did write a book, and even though my aunt is not a professional editor, off the strength of how crucial she was to my English development, she was an associate editor of my book as well. I probably would never write a book without kicking it to my aunt for some, for some advice.
you look at that. That's what family is for. And it kind of molded you to help you in your career because being an actor, doing commercials, and all of these things, you're standing up, you're doing public speaking, and you're pitching, when you're doing commercials, you're pitching a product to the world, to us, the consumers. And being able to stand up and present to the world, that's a lot. So it's kind of prepping you in a long way. So that's probably what your art was doing.
She
Yeah.
was, and that's, I mean, oh, that's what I'm saying. Like all that stuff, like helped. It helped me to be fearless. It helped me with the actual ability of memorization. People ask me all the time, "How do you remember these lines? How do you remember your lines?" Well, like, I mean, I got a pretty good memory, but also like your brain is a muscle. You know what I mean? If you work it and you drill it, it will get better and you can improve in that. So at this point in time, like memory and lines to a certain extent comes second nature. But I actually use some of those practices from early on, memorizing spelling words and memorizing things like to this day.
And see, that helps you on set when you're being an actor, when you're rehearsing your lines. Your aunt says that she loves you and she is so proud of you.
Thank you. I already know. Thank you. I love you too, Aunt Angie. And her daughter Shayla is on here and some other people too.
Yes, your whole family is coming through.
They be representing.
How does it feel to have this beautiful unit and circle of family and friends supporting you 100%, following your passion and your dream?
It helps with the confidence because sometimes this industry can be tough on your self-esteem. It could be tough on your confidence. So to know that you have people that love you no matter what, or people that have cheered for you and supported you the whole time and have positive words whenever you're down and things like that, it's very crucial. You know what I mean? It's very important. And I really do appreciate all my family members because all of them to some extent like do encourage me and support me and cheerlead me on. And it does help me keep me going because they're also one of the driving influences for me to be successful. I want to be successful because a part of it is I want to make my family proud. You know what I mean? And I want to elevate us as a unit. I want to elevate, you know what I mean, the Bailey name. I want us to be, you know what I mean? I feel like I've been given a lot. I have been given a lot of God-given talents and abilities. And sometimes I get frustrated because I feel like I should be further along or I should be bigger or my name should be bigger. And, you know, my family is always like telling me that it's coming. Be patient. Keep working. Keep working. Be patient.
Yeah.
And that's the type of positive influence that they always have had. And I think that's
And
cool.
that's what it is. Yeah. It takes that, your family motivating you and keeping you along the way, telling you, okay, keep going, giving you that push. And that tough love that young age your aunt gave you when you were doing those practice spelling tests and everything, that has molded you along the way to the man you are today. So that's what your aunt was doing and your family was doing, giving you that extra push to go and make it.
Well,
and now you're on Peacock, on Bel-Air, you're on all of these reoccurring shows, reoccurring roles. So you got it.
Yeah. You know, we came up in the environment, like my parents were in the military, but I lived with my grandma for a while too. And so my grandmother, you know, she was on Section 8 housing. And I remember early on, whenever I was younger, you know, she was stayed in the projects, and then she moved out of the projects. And my father got her a house, and I lived with my grandma for a few years. And I think also like what my aunt was doing and what my grandma was doing was also like basically creating a situation for me not to fail because there were a lot of negative influences around and a lot of young black men and black men that had wasted talent and they didn't have the support that they could have had or they needed in order to get that extra lift up to go further. And I believe my family was definitely forward thinking and recognizing that I had something special and not allowing me to waste it, period. It wasn't going to
Right.
lose.
And your aunt seconds that. She says, that's it right there.
Yep.
That is it. About having that ground support system of family and friends backing you and cheering you on along the way.
They wasn't gonna let me lose, yo. They wasn't gonna let me not in the long run. You know what I mean? You lose some battles here and there, but we're gonna win the war for sure.
Absolutely. And look at you now. All right, fashion dolls. We're about to get into some games with Sheldon here, ladies and
gentlemen. Oh, we got
games? Yes. And then we're going to take a few questions from the audience. I can't keep them, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Scott. Shout outs to my amazing brother, Scott Valentine. Y'all give him some love.
Okay, Scott. Shout out to all the Game Shaker fans in here. Ruthless is in the building still.
Your aunt says you're a big deal. Look at that.
Some people say that.
And she said, thank you for this interview. You are welcome, Angie. You are so welcome, ma'am. And I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. So the first game is called Etc. And Etc. is our version of this or that. So I'm going to give Sheldon two choices, and he has to tell me which one he preferred, all right? And then the next one is going to be called Turn the Tables for my new viewers out here. And you get to know a little bit about me through Turn the Tables, all right? So Sheldon is going to ask me some questions. It can be anything fashion, beauty related, life related, goals, passion, whatever he wants to know. You guys will get to find out about me through that question. So we're going to start off with Etc. All right? I'm going to give Sheldon two choices, all right? Take out or dine out?
Dine out.
All right. Board games or card games?
Board games.
All right. Video games or books?
Books.
Make sure you choose wisely because your aunt watching.
Books.
Okay.
I mean, I do star in the video game, and I do love that video game, NBA 2K, but I definitely read way more than I play video games.
All right. Ninjas or pirates?
Ninjas or pirates? Ninjas. I think if I was here before, I think I was like a Japanese samurai. I'm gonna go with ninjas.
Okay. TV series or movies?
TV series is where I've been most successful. But I want movies. I want major action movies. I'm going TV though.
All right. Pancakes or waffles? Tough choice.
I think a bomb pancake is greater than a bomb waffle. I don't like either plain. Pancakes.
Okay.
I'm in the land of chicken and waffles, though, by the way. Roscoe's is right up the street.
All right.
Roscoe's chicken and waffles. All right.
Broccoli or squash?
Broccoli. Oh, Tops, I hate squash.
Okay.
Angie, do I hate squash? She one of these people that made me eat squash as a kid in defiance, but I don't mess with squash.
Me too. When we was babies, we'd have to eat our Brussels sprouts and squash. I hated it.
Hey, Brussels sprouts have a glow up though, because these ain't the same Brussels sprouts out here that was in the early '90s. These Brussels sprouts out here is different. I love Brussels sprouts now, but them steamed Brussels sprouts our parents was making back in the day, that wasn't a business.
Your aunt said absolutely. All right, fashion dolls. That was etc. It is time for Turn the Tables. And for my new viewers out here, I'm going to pass it on down to Shell here, and Shell is going to ask me some questions. Anything fashion, uh, anything he wants to know, I have to answer, and you guys will get to know a little bit through that question. Take it away.
Okay, so being known as a fashionista, what does that mean to you? Like, because I'm like, are you a fashion stylist for celebrities, or you know what I mean? Like, what does that mean? Like being, you know what I mean, like a fashion person on your end.
Like a fashionista.
Yep.
I love it. I love the thrill of it. For me, every day is an adventure. And it's just like sort of like acting. You're putting on a different look each day because each character has its own name. And I love transforming. I think transformation is beautiful. I don't like to stay the same. And I would say my style is a little like Rihanna's because Rihanna always changes. She does not stay the same. And she's one of my style influences. So I always had a passion for fashion at a young age. My mom would dress me, my grandmother would dress me. I hated the clothes, but it's so funny that, we go back and we look at our childhood pictures and it's just like, oh my God, what was I wearing? And I'll be like, oh, are those knickerbockers? So I would always change and just develop my own personality. And I started fashion after high school, developing my own personal style. And we all discovered that something is different about us. So for me being a fashionista, if you guys consider that, I'm flattered by it because I love what I do. I love transformation and I love changing. I love clothing because every outfit has its own personality. And for me, when you put on a nice garment and when you walk outside or walk into a building with confidence, that's what it's all about.
I like that. Fashion is obviously a big part of my life. It's a big part of the entertainment industry. Like you can't even like before you even go on set, you always have a fitting. You know what I mean? You always before you ever shoot anything, you have a fitting. You know what I mean? You have to because how you look and how these clothes lay on you, how it portrays is very important. And it's crucial. But whenever I'm talking about fashion, well, two things. One, I do remember like my grandma and them dressing me also. But then also, is this more just for yourself or for other people as well?
I do it for myself, but people love it. And whenever I post the look, they're just like, oh my God, they tune in to see what I'm wearing each day. Because I'm always posting inspiration from different eras of fashion. If you guys know me and you look at my entire Instagram feed here, it's nothing but fashion. It's beauty, it's home decor, but mainly fashion and beauty. Because those are the things that I love. I'm always pulling inspiration from somewhere like let's see, Beyonce, Grace Jones, the most powerful women, Pam Grier. I embody my sensuality. I embody my femininity. All of these things these women have, I embody. So you got to pull inspiration from somewhere. And that's where I get the inspiration from. Yeah.
That's cool. I was talking about this recently because a lot of, I see a lot of the girls with they got the baby hair swoops. They got the baby hair swooshes. You know what I mean? But I'm like, yo, I'm like, probably most of these people don't even know who Josephine Baker is. You know what I'm saying? Or
Love
like getting back. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like really digging into the crates of like Dorothy Dandridge and like these
oh,
iconic like women of color from back in the day who actually influenced and was rocking these kind of finger wave hairstyles in the 1920s. And here we are literally 100 years later and like these styles is like almost as popular as they ever been.
so it's so funny that fashion repeats itself with history. It's all coming back. Betty Boo, Marcos Luis, host of the One Mic Night podcast.
Yeah.
Betty Boo, I love Betty Boo. All of these looks are coming back, like the shoulder pads, the over exaggerated shoulders. Just not too long ago, Paris Fashion Week, uh, the over exaggerated shoulders. Women would wear shoulder pads, over exaggerated shoulders. If you guys go back and watch Diane Carroll on Dynasty, you would see the over exaggerated shoulders. Balmain did a collection that was basically an homage to the 80s. And a lot of those pieces had the over exaggerated shoulders. Saint Laurent also did it as well too. So
Yeah.
a lot of these looks are coming back. So we see the girls brushing their baby hairs. You've mentioned two of the most powerful women that I also admire too, which is Dorothy Dandridge and Josephine Baker. Perfect examples of femininity, sensuality, and just their fearlessness is what I admire about them too. So yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of, and also like I see like wide leg pants are back. But they're like different, like you know what I mean? Like wide leg pants came back in the '90s, but they were different in bell bottoms. And then these pants are
Mm-hmm.
back, and they're kind of a little bit more similar to the '90s, but then they're like still kind of like got a little bit of bell bottom flow to them. So I see that a lot, and I see like a lot of the kids kind of gravitating to more like the early '90s, early 2000s, like hip hops were like. I feel like pants were like super tight like for a while, and then now they're like gotten back to like being more loose and like flowy again. You know what I mean? Still some tight, a lot of tight pants out here too, but it's like tight pants and like flowy pants can coincide now. It's like either yeah,
You
one or
sound like
the
my
other.
mom. My mom doesn't like it too tight. She likes it flowy. When it comes to these pants out now, I like the bell bottoms, the 70s, like the flared outlet. All of that is coming back. It's like history repeats itself. And that's one thing about me. I will always go back. I'm old fashioned. So I will go back in a lot of fashion magazines like Vogue and Harper's Bazaar. And I will flip through the pages. I always collect the vintage issues from 92, 1987, different eras. And I will go back, and all of these fashions are coming back. Like James Harden's pants for game. Oh, I know what she's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys when they enter the court now, they kind of remind me a little bit of like how I don't know if you know this guy, but Walt Clyde Frazier. Walt Clyde Frazier for the Knicks in the '70s was like
Yes,
one of the most iconic dressers ever. You know what I mean? With the flow, the butterfly collars. You know what I mean? The joint buttoned up down here. You know what I mean? It's coming in flowing, fur coats. You know what I mean? Like, so I do appreciate where this is at because I remember whenever the NBA made players change how they dress because they felt like it was too rap, too hip hop, too gangster based, or like they weren't dressing professional enough. And I remember when that was a big public outcry, right? And guys didn't want to do that, and we felt like it
right.
was racist or whatever. But at the same time, I did kind of feel it because here are guys making millions and millions of dollars, and you know they should care more so about how their image is. And now it's like just going on to like a whole nother thing like that, like fashion within the NBA is like its own industry within the business.
And yeah, you see, as wait a minute, let me scroll back because I see you guys' comments. As Joe, she mentioned in the comments, she mentioned James Harden, all of these basketball players from Cam Newton to LeBron James, because you double for LeBron, they all have developed their own style on and off the court.
Yes and no. They
Yes,
also LeBron has a stylist, and a lot of these guys have stylists. So they do develop it, but they also develop it with professionals. Just the other day when I was flying to Phoenix, I ran into Chris Paul stylist because I know her and we used to work together on commercials and stuff like that. And she was literally going out there to get his clothing and his looks and things like that ready for the playoffs and whatever else he had going on. I learned a lot working with LeBron stylists because of how basically, I mean, because like it's very detailed, and then at the same
yeah,
time, like
very.
LeBron is
Mm-hmm.
an icon, and he's a bit of a fashion icon. And but I just learned like what they like to put on him and why. And I learned more about different brands too. So I'm like going through these fittings, and I'm like, oh, this is who this is. Okay. And I was like, I didn't even know Tom Ford was nice on me like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, cool, I'm rocking with this. Or I remember like they had some sunglasses, like some British sunglasses that hadn't come out yet. You know what I mean? One time we did a fitting for 9 hours one time, right? And so we had all the high
Wow.
end stuff, but then we had all the costume stuff, and throughout that, you know what I mean? Like I'm looking at the tags and I'm looking at how these things fit on me. I'm looking at the cuts. I'm looking at what we want to take in. You know what I mean? I'm paying attention to the measurements. I'm paying attention to what fits better. I'm looking at the price tag on some of these things. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at the luxury sweats and all this other different stuff. And I'm like, okay. And so in my mind, I'm putting together my looks as well as we going over all the different looks that me and LeBron are going to wear in the commercial. I mean, and this guy, you know, these stylists, I mean, they're working with LeBron James, they're working with NBA stars, they're working with the biggest productions in the world. So, I mean, I have had tutelage to some degree from some of the best fashion style minds in the business.
Yes, everything is detailed when you're working with a stylist because they know exactly what fits your personality, what colors you like, what colors you don't like, what colors you wouldn't wear. But they make you step outside of your comfort zone. And that's the purpose of fashion stylists, is to kind of make you do things that you wouldn't normally do. Like for me, I'm a basic type of girl going out, but when I'm doing the show here, Style by Stevie, I like to go over the top with glamour. I love to go over the top with different looks. I love to play with hair color. I love to play with a little bit of everything. And I style myself. I go by fashion magazines. You pull that inspiration, but I put my looks together. And so far, everything has been so great. Couture is nicely tailored to fit better the body. A lot of it handmade, yes. Now, a lot of these designers spend a lot of hours going into detail on these outfits on the stars. As Shell here mentioned, listen, you could be in a fitting for 9 hours or more, depending on what type of fabric the designer is using. So it's all about measurements, making sure that you know what works for you, what works for your client. Take that into consideration.
Yeah. And so, you know, from my own learning and understanding, but then also with the different things that I've experienced from stylists. I had a stylist one time for a brief period of time. But, you know, I do get complimented on my outfits from time to time. People ask me, like, who styled me or whatever. And I'm like, I styled myself. I did it. But, I mean, I have learned and I have had, you know, help to some degree over time. But also, I pay attention. And I also pay attention to like what I want to look like, and I have a good idea of like how I want to be presented, and how you know I want to like I want to blend in a bit, but I also want to have things that accentuate that make me look different and stand out. But I don't necessarily care
Yeah.
to always be wear loud clothing, but I know how to put pieces together to make it look, you know what I mean, a certain way and how I want them to look. Every once in a while, I have a fashion fail though. You know what I mean? You try to do something a little more forward thinking, and it might not hit right. Or sometimes I be like, y'all just ain't ready yet. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all look at this picture 2 years from now, like, oh yo, he was on something right there. But yeah, usually I do pretty good. I got roasted one time on TV for something I wore, but for the most part, I do all right.
You know, Shaq and Charles Barkley will do it. They will call you out on it. They will call you in.
I
They will do
I was on the Steve Harvey show and I took a little fashion risk that the public didn't necessarily really love.
Oh my goodness. So we've all have had our share of fashion fails. I know for me, I would go back and look at past looks and I'm just like, girl, why would you wear that? But now it's just like, okay, we're getting a little bit better. And believe me, your mom or your family will be the first one to tell you. Even our grandmothers will tell you if they don't like something. Because my grandmother and my mom, they watch the platform,
Yeah.
and my mom would tell me, "Girl, that dress is too short. You need to cover up more. I should have taken you to church more." Like when I'm wearing today, she would have probably say, "I wish I would have taken you to church more because that dress is too short." So yeah,
They try to I mean, but also like whenever you're doing things different, some people just not gonna understand and not get it. You know what I mean? And I remember sometimes like being in high school, just you know, having my own style and making my own expression. And my son is this way too. You know, so sometimes people come like, well, what are you wearing? And they don't really get it or whatever. But I mean, that's cool too. I think individuality is crucial, and we're not here to look like all the same.
Absolutely. And find your own personality, your own individuality through your own personal style. So, any other questions in the turn the table segment? Fashion Dolls, we are
Oh,
just
I was
talking
supposed to
about.
ask you a question. You live in Philly?
Yeah, you can ask as
You live
many
in
as you want.
Philadelphia?
I, I'm a South Carolina girl,
Okay.
but I have family.
Okay. What
Yes,
part of South Carolina?
I'm near Charleston. I'm near
I
Charleston,
like
Myrtle Beach.
Charleston. It's like the best place in the state. Um, I did go to Winthrop for 2 years, which is in Rock Hill, South Carolina. I am from North Carolina. Um, yeah, okay, but I like Charleston. I got to take a trip. I went there as a kid, but I don't want to go back there. I hear good things about Charleston. How you feel about Charleston?
How do I feel about Charleston? I love it. I love the scenery, and my brother stays there, so that's what I'm saying.
Nice. And do you travel? Do you have any aspirations? Where are some like places that you would like to travel? Give me like your top three places that you want to travel.
Mm, I would love to travel to Taiwan, of course. Not ironically because you're there, but Taiwan, of course. I have family in New York, so I would love to go back to New York. Um, where else would I like to travel? Another place, Italy. I always do places with beautiful scenery.
Yeah, I want
That's what I
to go
love.
to Italy for like a month. I went there briefly as a kid, but I I I want to do like a real deal Italy trip for sure.
Your aunt says we have family there, the Demarks. Demarks?
Yeah, the Denmarks, they're in Charleston. They're not in
Okay.
Charleston. They outside of Charleston, like 40 minutes in the middle of the in the country.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
how y'all going back? Are you guys going back to visit
Uh,
Australia? I would
we
like
used
to.
to do family reunions down there, but it's been a long time since we had a family reunion down there. But
Okay.
when we did, it was bomb though.
And you had a lot of well, listen,
The food was
family
smacked.
reunions.
It was some good. The food was crazy. It was legit. And then Charleston, you got the seafood action down there too. So they had the
Yes.
crab and all of that. Like I enjoyed myself down there.
Oh my goodness. Australia. Yes, I would love to go to Australia also too. I could say Indonesia is another place I'd like to go. All of these places with beautiful scenery, like outside of South Carolina,
For
before and
sure.
beyond. I've been to
Yeah.
Atlanta, and that's about it. But I'd love to go to New York to visit my family because I have so many
I mean,
family
when you
people
talk
like
about
family.
fashion, it's ground zero right there. That's where it's at. The design
Yes,
district is crazy over there in New York.
and my sisters told me about Fashion Week and how crazy it is there during Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week. I can
Yeah,
only
New
imagine.
York Fashion
Yeah.
Week is the biggest one, but there is one. We have Fashion Week here in LA too, and I feel like most major cities are now adopting a Fashion Week. I got some friends in Minneapolis, and they had Fashion Week recently in Minneapolis. I had the privilege of walking in Miami Fashion Week back in the day when I was like a model.
And I already imagine backstage what it's like, the chaos of everything going
Yeah,
on.
it's pretty
People that are watching
chaotic.
the show.
Butt nakedness, people running into each other, some people getting yelled at. But it's way different than how it would appear, like on the other side of the wall. Like if the wall dropped down, I think the audience would be shocked at what they saw on the backside. But it's like whatever's going back here, just get it together before you come through this curtain.
Yes, they won't see it. They won't see it. Kelly O'Coin says, Big Shell.
Oh, Kelly O'Coin. Hey, Kelly O'Coin is one of the stars on the show Billions. Yeah, we work on the Sterling affairs together. Kelly is he's a good guy, great actor. He's very entertaining. I think you guys are gonna get a kick out of his character on the Sterling affairs for sure.
All right, so you guys make sure that you guys are staying tuned. We're in the turn the table segment. Shell just asked me some more questions, ladies and gentlemen. Do you guys have any questions for Shell before we wrap up? Because I can't keep him. This is such a great interview and an honor to have you hear all of his love and people just feeding off of the energy throughout this whole conversation.
Thank you.
So before my guy Shell, Alex Porter, official Alex Porter.
Oh, that's my boy Alex. Alex is a really talented singer. He's a great singer out here in Los Angeles. He sang "Happy Birthday" at my birthday party last year. I'm expecting him to do the same thing, different rendition probably, but whatever. We'll hopefully he should be at my birthday party coming up. But Alex is awesome, awesome singer. We probably should collaborate on some music, honestly. But he's also a very supportive dude on social media for sure.
And Kelly says that you are great in sterile affairs.
Thank you, Kelly. That's the word on the street. People telling me I did a good job. I believe I did, but I haven't seen it yet. But they've been saying good things, and I really believe that it's going to be a big step up in my career. It's one of those things that I've been on TV quite a bit, but I haven't always been able to really get into the meat of these characters and really show some of my range. I think overall, you put them all together, yeah. But in this particular project, it's a high profile project. I have some important things to say and do, and this has been. It will be the biggest thing, of my career thus far, and I'm really excited about showing the world what I can do, and I look forward to it leading to a lot more opportunities as well.
All right, let me read these comments here. Joe wants to know, when does it drop? And Alex said, appreciate you, fam, and I got you. I'm there. Kelly says, I'll keep an eye out for my invitation.
Hey, Kelly, you live in New York, but if you out in LA, you definitely down to come to the party. I got a shot of whiskey for you, homie. And then it comes out in October. We don't have an official date yet, but it comes out in October. But today is a very special day because today my son and I will be going to the premiere of White Men Can't Jump 2. And this is my son's first major movie role. And he appears in White Men Can't Jump 2. And as a father, I am ecstatic and so excited and happy to walk on the red carpet with my son at the Disney Studios lot later on this evening, because it's just really special. You know what I mean? My son's 16 years old. He's got his first part in the movie. Comes out May 19th, but we will see it in the big theaters tonight and today. And so I his wins are my wins. You know what I'm saying? And so really proud of the kid for putting his best foot forward and not being scared and really going out here and having success. So shout out to young Savage Solo, my baby boy, who's not so much of a baby anymore, but he's achieving his own stuff, and I'm excited about that.
Your aunt says he is the next huge deal. Hey, awesome, yay, Solo. Felt very collaborative on set. Same for you. That's what Kelly wants to know.
He said it feel collaborative.
Felt very collaborative on set.
It was a lot of really good, talented people that had various good work in that show, and I think people will love it. But I think people will be pleasantly surprised with the work, period. Not just my work, with everybody's work. I just think it's a high level and very quality. And I hope all these casting directors and producers and directors watch it, so then they can hire me.
All right. Congrats to your son and
Thank you.
And your
Thank you very much.
Your son is going places. Solo is going places.
Thank you. That's the goal.
Congratulations, always killing it. Congrats to your son. That's big. Congratulations. Excellent. Can't wait to watch the film.
Thank you. White Man Can't Jump
Uh,
too.
yes, definitely stay tuned for that. You guys have seen the trailer. It is out right now, so please go and check it out. Definitely. And before we conclude this interview, any last questions, Fashion Dolls? And Shell, before we let you go, while we're waiting on everyone to type their questions for you, what advice would you give to the next upcoming actors? Because you've done so much throughout your career and set the way for so many up and coming actors out there. What advice would you give to fresh up and coming actors?
It can happen. Know that it can happen. And if you put your right foot forward and you go forward, and you work, you put the work in and you keep a positive attitude, I think you'd be pleasantly surprised with what you can accomplish. But number one, you're going to have to believe that it can happen. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to go for it.
Absolutely. And Joe wants to know, what are y'all wearing on the carpet tonight?
I don't know. I asked my son this morning what he was wearing. He said he didn't know. He was going to figure it out. I'm sure he's going to come up with something really, really cool. I kind of been going over it in my head. I ain't really sure what I'm wearing yet neither, but we got some good options in the closet, so we'll figure it out.
Okay.
I like pre-style in my head, so I've been styling myself in my head, and then I just I'll go do it, and then hopefully everything fits and works the way I want. And if not, then we'll just scrap it and go with something else. But he's very fashionable, though. Knowing him, he probably going to be Balenciaga'd out, and he going to be super drippy, probably knowing him. But me, we'll see.
Let me see. Miss Stevie, you killed this interview. Hats off to you. Thank you, Angie. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed this interview. This was such a great interview, and I'm glad you guys had a great time here. All right, so the last final thought, because I always send you guys food for thought on your way, a word of encouragement. Today's word of the day comes from Angela Davis. I am no longer accepting the things that I cannot change. I am changing the things that I cannot accept. And when it comes to fighting for your passions and what you believe in, continue to go forth on all of your endeavors. Now, what I like to say is we live life through fire. And what I mean by that is walk through all of your passions and endeavors to get to the next level of success. There's going to be obstacles, but you keep going. And that is the thought of the day, Fashion Dolls. Shell, your dad is here. That's in your Aunt Angie.
What up, Pops? You talking about influence. He influenced, pretty much the person that you see today, honestly. And if I didn't have a strong black male figure in my life, I don't know how things would have worked out for me. Somebody that, was in the U.S. Army, but also told his young son that it was okay to be in theater class and to go to drama and, to write books and all these different things. My father, he definitely raised me up in a different way with a different outlook on things. And I always love him and appreciate him for that, for sure.
All right, Fashion Dolls. Do we have any questions or thoughts? And let everyone know where they can check out the upcoming projects. I know you said your son is in the latest White Man Can't Jump, which is out. Make sure you guys go and check that out. The trailer is out. Taylor is an ensemble cast, Jack Harlow. Make sure you guys go and check it out. Let everyone know where they can check out your projects, follow you.
Hey, well, you know where we are right now, at Big Shell Bailey, Twitter, Shell Bailey. If you want to check me out on YouTube, see some of my dramatic reels, music videos, things like that, as Sheldon Bailey on YouTube. You can Google me. I'm quite Googleable. And yeah, so we out here. If you watch the season 2 premiere of Bel-Air, you'll see me on there. A lot of people enjoyed the Netflix show from scratch. It's an honor to be on that. But really, stay tuned for this big show that we got coming out in October. Still a little ways away, but October will be here sooner than we know it after we run through this summer. So yeah. And my 40th birthday is coming up, May 26th. So if you all around, make sure you show me some love for my birthday.
All right, Fashion Dolls, ladies and gentlemen, Shell Bailey joining me Wednesday. Make sure you guys tune in. Levi Otis joins me here in the Dollhouse. I love you all, and you guys take care. And this interview will be up. Make sure you guys head on over and subscribe to Style by Daytime. All
Cheers.
right.
Thanks, y'all. Bye. Cool.